A severe cold front continues to bear down on our city. Today is our 11th consecutive day of below freezing weather, and we could very well be in the middle of the longest period of consecutive sub-32 degree weather in our city's entire history. Without temperatures rising above freezing, snow has hardened into blocks of ice. But the greatest danger posed by this sustained cold is to vulnerable New Yorkers who remain exposed to the elements. As of this morning, 16 of our fellow New Yorkers have passed away outside during this brutal stretch of cold. In 13 of these cases, preliminary findings indicate that hypothermia played a role, and 3 of these deaths appear to be overdose deaths. We await final results from the medical examiner's office and will inform New Yorkers as we learn more. Each of these lives lost is a tragedy. My heart was with the family of those mourning their loved ones. We are continuing to do everything in our power to get every New Yorker into a shelter where they will be warm. The cold is showing no signs of stopping, so neither will this city's efforts. From information available now, it appears that none of the individuals who have died outside were living in homeless encampments at the time of their death. New York remains in a code blue. If you see someone in need, please call 311. Outreach workers and first responders from the NYPD and FDNY will respond and get those New Yorkers the help that they need. Our outreach workers have only intensified their work to get homeless New Yorkers into shelter. We continue to operate warming sites and warming vehicles across the 5 boroughs. We have expanded shelter capacity, relaxed intake rules, and are working with our partners across the city to increase outreach. As of this morning, we have made more than 930 placements to shelters and safe havens. We have also involuntarily transported 18 New Yorkers who were determined to be a danger to themselves or to others. We have expanded our mobile warming units to a fleet of 20, which are moving throughout the city, equipped with clinical staff, to treat New Yorkers' needs and get them off the street. If you are hearing me speak right now and you are not sure if you will be looked after, please, let me make myself clear. Every single person will be cared for. No one will be turned away. As part of that commitment, we have added 50 new single-room shelter units for those who are uncomfortable with other forms of shelter, because we want every New Yorker to know that shelter is there if they need it. NYPD has been a part of the outreach efforts throughout Code Blue. They have been a part of it. DSS workers have been a part of it. It's been a whole-of-government approach. And I think the primary issue here is the weather that we are experiencing. We are speaking about already one of the coldest periods in New York City history and what could end up being the coldest period in New York City history. And what these city workers have done, no matter whether they're DSS, NYPD, any other agency, they have done the work of reaching out to New Yorkers to make now nearly 1,000 placements. And we know that that is work that has to continue. That is work that we will not rest so long as this cold continues and so long as there are New Yorkers who are outside. And I think that, you know, yesterday when I was at that safe haven, I spoke to a number of New Yorkers who were finding warmth within it. And some of them had come in the night before. Some of them, you know, I met a man who told me that he had been living in an airport for 5 months before he was brought to this shelter. The conditions that people are living through, they are conditions that none of us should be comfortable with. And so we're going to use every single resource at our disposal to continue to build on this work, to open up more shelters, open up more beds, and ensure that New Yorkers are staying warm. I think, to be very clear just at the top of this, the deaths that we have seen, at this time it does not appear there is any relationship between encampments and what we've seen with these 16 New Yorkers. The policy on encampments, we have long said that it was a failure to pursue a policy in the manner that the previous administration did, and we've said that it's a failure because of its having only connected 3 New Yorkers with permanent housing over the course of 365 days. So our policies will continue on the same timeline as they were prior. However, instead of looking to just push New Yorkers from one encampment to another part of this city, we're going to look to emphasize the services that we can connect those New Yorkers with. It is primarily due to the weather, whereas typically after snowfall of any kind, rising temperatures would assist in the melting of that snow. Instead, what we are all experiencing is a cold that is continuing at a record pace, frankly. And what that has meant is that the entirety of the city's response is up to the city workers themselves. And what they've been doing is an incredible job. However, it is a job that must continue. And it is also a job that has required us to go beyond the typical. What I mean by that is that we might typically have just sanitation workers doing a lot of this work. Right now, we have 2,500 sanitation workers working 12-hour shifts, each 12-hour shift rather, and then we now have up to 1,500 additional workers, many of them coming from separate city agencies who are supplementing that work, especially when it comes to bus walks, bus stops, and crosswalks. And at this time, we're seeing that that's going to continue. What I'm thankful to see is that the pace of cleanup is increasing. Sanitation is currently running about 24 hours behind on trash collection. I know that they are working with everything that they have to come up to speed, and that'll continue to be a focus for us, because what we want is a city where New Yorkers can continue to return back to their lives as they were. We know that this cold is not going to help us. We know that this is going to continue for the next few days.